Welcome to The Positive Habit this week. Happy Monday. I'm here with some book recommendations for you. I'm going to talk briefly through a non-fiction book, which is this, Dan Buettner's The Blue Zones, and then I will move on to a fiction book because I love both and I'm such an avid reader and think it's just such a wonderful beautiful thing to do for ourselves. Take time for yourself and really allow your imagination to roam and also to learn. It's incredible how much we can learn and soak up information. So The Blue Zones is actually one of the books that was recommended to me on my course that I am approaching the finishing line in the Royal College of Surgeons on the end of June. So this is one of the books that we was on our reading list, and you may have heard of it. It's called The Blue Zone, as I said, Dan Buettner. And there are 5 blue zones in the world. One of them is, the first one is Sardinia, a place I've been to many years ago. And what's really interesting about each of these places is that it's small little pockets. So it's not the whole of Sardinia, but it would be one little village in Sardinia, a mountain village. So we have Sardinia, we have Okinawa in Japan, we have Southern California in America, we have the Costa Rica, and then the 5th one is Ikaria in Greece, another place that I've been fortunate enough to go to. So what Dan Buettner does, and he does it in a really lovely way, is that he goes to each of all these places. It's incredibly well researched. I mean, what we're getting here is very thorough research in terms of the people, the interviews, the data. The thing that I love though, and it's great that it is so scientific and really very practical, as it offers 9 lessons of how we can create our own blue zone. What I loved most about this book was the personal touch. How Dan relates to the people, the older people over 100 years of age, and how there's such a warmth there. The lessons are invaluable. I won't go through them all, but I do recommend that you have a little read of it yourself. And it's like one of those things, like as you're reading, you just start to adopt. And that's what I love, is that you start to adopt a lot of the behaviors. One of the things that one of the ladies in Southern California said that she does is she drinks so much water before breakfast. And that's just something I've really started to do ever since I read this. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Christy Lefteri, which I think actually, I know you think I'm obsessed with Greece, and I kind of am, but she is a Cypriot immigrant who lived in London. Not sort of immigrant, she was from Cyprus. Her parents were from Cyprus and they moved to England. So she's English, and it is The Beekeeper of Aleppo. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. Again, it's not particularly a new book. It is a bestseller, international, and it is the story of Syrian refugees who are forced to flee, obviously coming from Aleppo. It actually brings up emotion even talking about it, because it's incredibly evocative of what the Syrian refugees went through and are going through. I suppose it's particularly pertinent now with what's going on in the Ukraine. And it's a story of basically a man and a woman. Again, I don't want to give too much away, a husband and a wife. And what I love about fiction is that it's a really indirect way of learning about the history of a country or what's going on politically, culturally, in a way through the eyes of the people. So it's like a sort of social history, really. And we discover about this couple, how the impact, obviously, of being absolutely horrendous, torn apart, having to flee their home. They're one of the last people to actually leave, and there is so much hope in it as well, because they make it to the UK, which is phenomenal success, and it really goes through the unbelievable challenges that they face. It's incredibly well written. I love the style. I love that it is very character driven. Yes, it's set against a backdrop that is obviously very depressing and sad and very difficult. But I do think it's actually a good one to read right now, even though it's going into a lot of anxiety people are feeling over the Ukraine, understandably. However, it just brings a human touch to something in a way that I think is very helpful, very motivating for all of us to do what we can to help. So those are my two books. We have The Blue Zone, Dan Buettner, and we have The Beekeeper of Aleppo by Christy Lefteri. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read the books before, if you give them a shot and you enjoy them. I would love to hear. So have a wonderful week and I'll see you soon. Lots of love.